What's up, guys? Back with another video here. Told you I was going to post more. Sat down, watched my video. Now I have a chance to post. Today, we're going to talk about how to pass. This is a simple thing that, everybody who just starts racing kind of already knows how to pass. You just pull to the inside of somebody, you outbrake them going into the corner, and then you pass them. What many people don't know is how to pass successfully. A lot of guys pass and they'll get past in the next corner, or they won't pass completely. And that's something that when I'm working with a bunch of drivers or doing some coaching, it's something that's frustrating as a coach because you're constantly like, you could have been a spot ahead, but now you're stuck behind this driver, or you half passed somebody, or you overshot the pass, and there's always like something that could have been better. So today we're going to talk about how to pass successfully. We're also going to talk about different kinds of passes and how to do specific kinds of passes successfully. So we're going to start by just talking about, the basic pass, getting to the inside of somebody, claiming the position, and then coming off the corner. Then we're going to talk about kind of a late lunge pass. It's more aggressive. You're not next to somebody in the braking zone, and you're just trying to muscle it and make it happen. So we'll talk about that, and then finally we'll talk about the outside pass. Not going to use that one much, but it is something that I'd like to cover because sometimes the opportunity does present itself, and it would be good if you knew it. So let's start with the first one, just how to make a regular pass. Generally, everybody understands it as getting beside somebody in the braking zone and beating them to the apex. That's not necessarily the case. A lot of people, when they make their pass at the beginner to mid-level driver, they tend to overshoot that pass. That normally comes down to drivers wanting to make the pass before the corners even happened. A lot of drivers, you'll pull up next to somebody in the braking zone and then try and beat them to the apex, and then that just results in you sliding off, center off the corner, and then missing the corner, and then the driver just over-undering you off corner. So what I want to do is kind of show you guys just a pretty standard pass and kind of walk you through each step of the pass, just so you guys have a better understanding of, what is a basic pass, what are you looking for, and just how exactly should that pass be completed. So before we even get to the video, the first step to completing a successful pass is getting up beside the driver in the braking zone. A lot of the times, drivers overthink the pass and want to be in front of the driver before they get to the apex. All you have to do when you're in the braking zone trying to pass a driver is get side pod to side pod. You could even be a little bit further, your front tire to where their side pod is, and you can generally still make the pass at that point. But all you have to do is get to the driver's side pod and you can make that pass. You will not overdrive it, and the driver will normally have to concede that position. The next step is making sure you're carrying enough speed that the driver on the outside cannot stay there. What tends to happen is some drivers will go in and they'll get side pod to side pod with the guy in the braking zone, and then they'll overslow the pass, trying to be extra cautious so that they don't run into the driver. That's good that you're being cautious, but you tend to leave the door open on the outside, and then it allows the driver to carry speed off the corner and then beat you off the corner and ride the outside. So when you get to the side part of the driver, you want to make sure you get off the brake early enough that you can carry enough speed through the corner that the driver on the outside doesn't want to stay there and can see that, okay, you're going to come off the corner wide and I'm going to end up in the dirt. And that leads to the third point of the corner. Always on exit, you want to try and use as much track off without running into the driver. Obviously, sometimes that happens and you do drive the driver off into the grass or, off the track. But you want to carry enough momentum in the center of the corner so that on the exit, you don't have to drive the driver off. You use all the track because it's open and it's there. It's not because you're driving somebody off the track. So let's watch a video of how that happened. And I'll just take you through each part of that corner and show you how to get that pass done. So here you can see we're entering up to the last corner of GoPro Motorplex. Driver gets a little wide off the last corner. Look to the inside. I'll pause it right here. You can see I'm side pod to side pod, a little bit further back than side pod to side pod in the braking zone. But again, I didn't try to focus on getting past the driver at the apex. I just focused on getting to the side of him so he knew I was there and he knew that I'm going to have that momentum to carry me off the corner. As we get close to the corner, you see at the apex, the driver on the outside realized I had the position, I had the pass, I was carrying too much momentum, I was not going to be able to save space for him on the exit. He backed off early just to get in line, and then I came out of the corner, used all the track off, and then boom, pass is done. Pretty standard pass. I'll show you another pass, same track, same event. going down into the hairpin at GoPro Motorplex. This again, pretty standard, pulling up, have a run going to the corner, pull up in the braking zone, claim the pass, drive off the corner. So again, that's pretty standard, basic passing. Many drivers know this, but again, they just tend to forget the fact that you don't have to be in front of the driver by the apex, and you just need to be side by side by the time you guys turn into the corner. Another just note on that whole basic passing, just for racing advice, try to pass in corners where you can't get passed back in the next corner. So let's say there's 2 hairpins back to back. You want to make the pass in the corner where you're not going to get passed back. So if I had to choose in the first hairpin or the second hairpin, I'd probably choose the second one. Just because if I were to pass in the first one, I'm going to be slow off the corner. And if I try to set up for the second hairpin, most likely I'll get passed back. So if I go into the second hairpin, I'll have a better opportunity to get 2 or 3 corners where I'm just open and have some clear track, and then I could separate a gap a little bit, and then I don't have to worry about blocking. That's just something to keep in mind when you're making these just standard passes, just to try and think when you're racing, try and pick spots that are better for my race. That's kind of another topic. We'll talk about racecraft later, but just something to keep in the back of your head when you're thinking about all of this stuff. So the second style of pass that we're going to talk about today is like a late lunge or a last lap kind of aggressive pass. So first of all, before you do a late lunge on a driver, you need to kind of know the tendencies of the driver before you do it. If you haven't raced with somebody before, that's one thing. But if you know a driver's going to turn down on you if it's a late pass, or the driver's going to race you a certain way, that definitely changes how you should approach this pass. But definitely tip number 1, know the driver, know who you're going to pass, because everybody reacts a little different, and you don't want to end up on the side of the road when you could have ended up finishing the race. So with that being said, let's talk about late lunge pass. So you'll enter up the corner probably about 2-3 carts back, and your goal is to beat the driver to the apex. Again, not pass him by the apex, but beat the driver in front of you to the apex. When you enter into the braking zone, the goal is not to pass the driver, but to get side by side with him at the apex, to kind of claim the apex. The key to this pass, though, is to catch the driver in front off guard. You want them to check up in the center of the corner. You want them to have already turned into the corner and then to see you there, counter steer away from you for like a split second so that you have the momentum coming off the corner. What happens most of the time is when somebody tries to make a late lunge into the corner, they end up slowing down too much in the center of the corner, and the driver on the outside is still able to carry speed off the corner and still beats them off the corner. You want to surprise the driver that you're passing so that they have to check up, and then you both lose that momentum. But because you're on the inside, you'll have the position and you'll have the drive off the corner. You want to make sure that you kind of stun the driver and make it hard for them to fight you for this position. The goal is to pass the guy off the corner every single time. And if you try and do that too early, or you don't do it enough initially, you're always going to get stuck in that same position, and you're just going to waste time either on the leaders, or you're going to fall back into the hands of somebody that's trying to pass you now. So let's watch one of these kind of late lunges on a driver, and I'll just kind of walk you through what you're supposed to be thinking and how you're supposed to be handling this corner. So as I'm approaching this driver, I know they're a little bit more aggressive, but I know I have the ability to make a late lunge on them. Going into the braking zone, you can see in the braking zone, I'm not side pod to side pod with the driver. I never was able to get there. I was about 2 to 3 cart lengths back entering the corner, so I wasn't going to be able to get in front of the driver in the braking zone. But as we get close to the corner, at the apex, you can see now we're side pod to side pod. You want to take the time that you're in the braking zone to focus on getting to the apex first. Not passing the driver, but just beating the driver to the apex. Being the first person there so that the driver has to check up. You can see right before I got to the apex here, the driver checked up a little bit and the wheel kind of hesitated, and that's where the opportunity came that I had to drive off the corner and was able to complete this pass. You can see there's just a regular line off the corner, but yeah, you want to make sure that when you make these late lunges, you're side pod to side pod with the guy at the apex. Not in the braking zone like you would in a regular pass, but you're the first person to the apex, and you're the one that gets to control the corner. And finally, we're going to talk about the outside pass. So this is a pass that you probably won't use much. Your mechanic's going to yell at you if you try and do it. Your coach is going to be upset with you. But there are some opportunities that it does work. Normally it happens on the start. A bunch of drivers will go down to the inside to defend, and there will be an open line on the outside where you can just kind of go to your normal braking zone and kind of outdrive all these guys by carrying more momentum. But sometimes it happens where a driver is defending and you'll have the opportunity to try and get around them on the outside. It'll be the only resort at some times. So number one, you want to get to the outside of the driver in the braking zone and pinch them down. Whenever you make an outside pass, obviously the driver has to be blocking. So you have to, in the braking zone, make sure you brake late enough that you can get to the side part of the driver on the outside, or even a little bit in front. Again, we're not trying to pass the driver by the apex. We're just trying to get either beside them or a little bit in front of them, just to kind of pinch them down to the inside and stop them from having the opportunity to come back out and swing out for the corner. And by doing this, you're stopping the driver from having any momentum entering the corner, and you're making the radius for their corner much tighter than you're making your radius for your corner. So as you get into the center of the corner, you can kind of just stay at the same position, but make sure you pinch them down. So even if they were to come up and slide up into you, they won't have enough momentum to slide into you and knock you off the racetrack. That's obviously the biggest concern, is that the driver on the inside will just carry too much speed and knock you off the racetrack. But try and get in there and pinch the driver down so that they don't have enough momentum to carry it off the corner. And that's where you're going to pass them, is off the corner with the momentum that you carried through the center of the corner. So let me show you a video of that. This happened on the start of a race in Newcastle. You can see all the drivers are starting to go all the way to the inside. And you can see right here, before we even get to the braking zone, that there's a clear shot all the way to the outside of everybody. Right here, you can notice that and be like, okay, it's time to go to the outside. Only thing to watch out for is other drivers that want to do that same thing. Drivers can get in line on the inside and then realize that that's not the way to go and shoot out last second. And if you're on the outside, you're going to get run right off into the grass. So it's a risky pass. But just keep an eye out for that, because sometimes you can kind of preemptively see if a driver's going to jump out, and you can kind of anticipate that and not be in that position. So right here, I see the outside lines open, looking for drivers to jump out. A few do. Pinch the driver down on the inside right there. You can see the comp cart is on the inside of me, keeping it nice and tight so he doesn't have the opportunity to slide out into me. And then using my momentum off the corner to make the pass. The pass is only going to be completed on the exit of the corner. Again, it's the same with every other pass. You're not making the pass on entry into the corner. You're making the pass center off. You're making the pass because you have more speed to get off this corner. And that's pretty much it. Passing is a simple thing, but it's difficult to do successfully, consistently. A lot of drivers tend to overshoot the pass or underdrive the pass, and that's just something that hurts your race. It hurts you catching the drivers in front of you. It hurts you from getting a good qualifying lap. There's so many times that it just benefits you to make a successful, strong pass. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video. Again, starting to post some more videos here. Got a new camera, so the quality's a little better. I'm really looking forward to posting some good quality content and just to help you guys progress even further in your racing careers. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on my Instagram and Facebook. See you guys at the next one.